code that makes it print. Turn your pixels into mint. Now the algorithm's screaming. Start the high-yield AI dreaming. With Vidal, you're gonna scale up. Vidal! Yeah, with Vidal, fill your cup.
I want you to imagine, just for a second, securing a prime advertising slot during the 2025 NBA Finals.
Oh, man. That's prime real estate.
Right. And if you track broadcast media buying, you know what that traditionally requires. We're talking about a baseline production budget of, well, over $200,000.
But a bare minimum, yeah.
Exactly. Plus a lead time of at least 6 weeks. And this is where it gets crazy. What if you could secure that exact premium placement with creative that actually stops people from scrolling on their phones, and it only required a $2,000 budget?
And let me guess, a fraction of the time.
Yep, like a 72-hour turnaround.
See, that completely shatters the fundamental calculus of commercial production. I mean, a ratio like that used to be just a mathematical impossibility.
And that impossible math is exactly our mission for today's deep dive.
Yeah.
We are unpacking this really fascinating April 2026 report by Adam Martin at VDU. It's titled AI Marketing Campaign Examples 2026.
It's a great read. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, totally. Our goal here is to sort of shortcut your learning curve. We want to look at the actual architecture behind how the world's biggest brands and even some super agile startups are just ditching traditional ad production entirely.
To frame the broader landscape here, for you listening, we have to acknowledge that this is not a fringe tactic anymore. The report notes that campaigns integrating these AI workflows are seeing a 20 to 30% higher ROI compared to legacy methods.
Which is huge.
It is. And by 2026, 74% of marketers are classifying AI as critically important. So the whole thesis of this report is that AI has officially graduated from the experimental sandbox. It's the operational standard now. If your team isn't architecting workflows around these tools, you're actively choosing to compete at a severe disadvantage.
Which makes total sense when you see how the tech is actually being used. Because the most striking takeaway for me wasn't that brands are using AI to do normal things faster. It's that they're using it to execute concepts that are literally physically impossible in the real world.
Right, breaking those physical constraints.
Exactly. Which brings us back to that NBA Finals ad. So it was produced by a fintech trading platform called Calchi. With their tiny $2,000 budget, they totally bypassed live-action shooting. They used AI to generate these purely surreal, hallucinated visuals.
What kind of visuals are we talking about here?
Oh, wild stuff, like a farmer completely submerged in a pool of raw eggs.
Wow.
Yeah, an alien casually drinking a beer, and a cowboy holding a chihuahua.
That is bizarre, but it works so well for the attention economy. From a production standpoint, it highlights a crucial capability of generative models. They are amazing at blending concepts within their latent space.
Latent space meaning the underlying map where the AI understands how images relate to each other.
Exactly. I mean, if you asked a practical effects team to build a realistic pool of raw eggs for an actor to sit in, you're looking at days of setup, massive expense,
And an absolute logistical nightmare.
a total mess, literally and figuratively. But the AI just interprets the semantic relationship between, farmer, pool, and eggs, and boom, it renders a photorealistic composite instantly.
That concept of bypassing physical limitations goes even further when we look at the sports world. The report details this Nike campaign for their 50th anniversary called Never Done Evolving.
Oh, the Serena Williams one.
Yes, they produced an 8-minute video ad featuring a virtual tennis match between Serena Williams at age 17, so right around her first Grand Slam in 1999, and Serena at age 36 during her 2017 Australian Open run.
A concept that is, again, fundamentally impossible to film in reality. You can't time travel.
Okay, let's unpack this, because when I first read that, my immediate thought was, okay, this sounds like a high-end sports video game. We've all seen simulated matches, right?
Sure, they usually look a bit clunky.
Right. But the reason this specific campaign pulled in almost 2 million YouTube viewers and felt completely authentic is how they structured the data. They didn't just ask an animation program to render 2 women playing tennis.
They used real historical data. Right?
Exactly. They fed an AI model a massive data set of archival footage. The system ingested precise biomechanical data, movement patterns, agility metrics, reaction times, shot selections unique to both specific eras of her career.
What's fascinating here is the underlying mechanism. They used machine learning to extract skeletal tracking data from decades-old two-dimensional broadcast tape.
From a flat video.
Yeah. The AI mapped how 1999 Serena moved differently than 2017 Serena, and then it applied those distinct physical profiles into a physics engine to simulate a match that honors the actual mechanics of how she played at those specific ages.
That is mind-blowing.
Traditional production physically cannot deliver that. You couldn't hire an actor or an animator to perfectly replicate that precise biomechanical evolution, and by using this tech, Nike and Calchi compressed weeks of agonizing, expensive iteration into hours.
So brands can test bizarre or technically impossible directions safely. But if we follow that thread that AI can generate the physically impossible, we have to look at what happens when you introduce infinite scale.
The variation game.
Exactly. The report breaks down an IBM B2B campaign that illustrates this perfectly. They partnered with Adobe for a global brand awareness initiative. IBM used Adobe Firefly to generate about 200 original baseline images.
200 is already a lot for a standard campaign.
Right. But then they used AI to mathematically generate over 1,000 variations of those base images. They hyper-tailored them for super specific industries like healthcare, finance, and manufacturing.
From a logistical perspective, that solves a massive bottleneck. Even a giant enterprise like IBM, which has, what, a 1,600-person design org?
Something like that, yeah.
Even they struggle to adapt and localize creative assets at that kind of volume and speed.
But I have to ask about quality control here. Because if I'm generating 1,000 images a day, doesn't that inherently dilute the brand?
You'd think so, right?
Yeah. I mean, wait, doesn't generating thousands of images just create a mountain of generic spam that alienates people?
That is the exact vulnerability most organizations fail to account for. And it's why IBM's execution is so instructive. They didn't just give the AI an open-ended prompt and say, go crazy.
So they put constraints on it.
Very strict constraints. They established programmatic brand guardrails within the workflow. Think of it like bumpers in a bowling alley, but for brand identity. They locked in exact color hex codes, specific typography weights, spatial composition rules.
Oh, wow. So the AI couldn't mess up the core branding.
Mathematically restricted from outputting anything that deviated from IBM's visual standards. Because the creative was so contextually relevant, a healthcare executive saw a medical environment that felt completely authentic to them, while a finance decision maker saw something completely different.
And it worked.
The data is wild. IBM saw 26 times higher engagement compared to their standard benchmarks, and they hit their exact target. 20% of that engaged audience were C-level decision makers.
So the scale of variation beats a polished single concept. That is a massive paradigm shift. And speaking of scale, I have to bring up the Nutella case study.
Oh, Nutella Unica. This is a classic.
It is brilliant. They took this concept of infinite scale and forced it into the physical world. They launched this campaign in Italy where they used an AI algorithm to design 7 million completely unique physical jar labels.
Every single one was different.
No two jars were identical. They distributed these 7 million unique jars to supermarkets and invited people to share their specific design online.
It's a brilliant inversion of how we typically view this tech. Usually we associate AI personalization with, invisible algorithms serving us targeted digital ads. Nutella proved that personalization doesn't have to mean digital only.
It can be a tangible object sitting in your pantry.
Exactly. They took a mass-produced commodity product and engineered massive collectible value and perceived scarcity. It drove insane organic social sharing until every single jar sold out.
Which brings us to a much more complex intersection. If AI is doing all this design surreal imagery, algorithmic labels what happens when it tries to replicate actual human beings.
Ah, yeah. The uncanny valley.
Right. The report details a major stumble by Coca-Cola in late 2024. They released a fully AI-generated remake of their iconic 1995 Holidays Are Coming commercial, the one with the red trucks in the snow.
I remember the uproar over this.
It was so divided, they used advanced generative video models, but people found the AI-generated human faces deeply unsettling. It hit the uncanny valley hard. It was so intense that in their 2025 iteration, Coke actually chose to remove human faces entirely.
Generative video of a human face is incredibly hard. Emulating micro-expressions and temporal consistency when it fails, our brains immediately reject it. But the critical lesson here is observing how Coke reacted.
Right, they didn't just give up.
No, they didn't treat AI as a one-off gimmick.
Yeah.
Pratik Thakar, their global VP of generative AI, publicly noted that the second version's craftsmanship was 10 times better. Generative models compound in capability.
Right.
You can't abandon the tech after one awkward public reception.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. The report contrasts Coke's stumble with how H&M and Mango were doing it, because they did it the right way.
By not inventing fake people from scratch.
Exactly. In 2025, H&M created 30 digital twins of real, contracted human models. They took 3D scans of actual professionals so they could use them across dozens of campaigns in global markets without flying people around the world for reshoots.
And Mango took it a step further with Mango Teen.
Yes. Mango Teen launched a 95 market campaign without a single human model on set. They photographed real, physical clothes on flat surfaces and used AI to perfectly drape those real clothes onto AI models. The secret to their success was using real garments and real humans as the source material.
That's the core insight here. AI should amplify real product assets, not fabricate them from scratch. It anchors the generative process in reality, and it fundamentally changes the economics for fashion brands.
Because now you can get global coverage at mid-market budgets.
Exactly. You get the scale of a top-tier conglomerate without the traditional overhead.
Okay, but let's shift gears from visual spectacle to hard sales. All this AI trickery is cool, but how does it actually get your customers to click buy?
That means moving away from generative AI and looking at computer vision, analyzing data instead of making pictures.
The A.S. Watson Group example is perfect for this. They're a massive health and beauty retailer. They integrated an AI skincare advisor into their app. A customer just uploads a standard selfie.
Just from their smartphone.
Yep. The AI instantly analyzes over 14 distinct skin metrics from that selfie. Melanin levels, pore depth, hydration, and then it outputs a highly personalized skincare routine tailored to that exact biological data.
And the business outcomes were wild, right?
Staggering, a 396% conversion uplift, and users spent 4 times more than standard shoppers.
If we look at the why behind that, the campaign solved actual human friction.
The friction of, I don't know what to buy.
Exactly. The beauty aisle is overwhelming. By replacing generic browsing with a trusted, visual-based biometric analysis, the brand provides objective personalization. The AI removed the guesswork, so the consumer bought the whole routine.
So what does this all mean for you? If you're listening and want to implement this, Adam Martin's report breaks down a very concrete 6-step playbook.
Let's hear it.
Step 1, define your objective and your audience. Human strategy has to come first. Step 2, research what works using tools like the TikTok Creative Center.
Yeah, you have to establish that strategic baseline. Using AI to generate off-strategy ideas just makes you fail faster.
Exactly. Step 3, generate 10 to 25 variants using tools like VidAU. You literally drop a product URL in, and the AI turns it into a video ad in about 10 minutes.
10 minutes? That's just wild.
It is. Step 4, run structured A/B testing using automated bidding like MedAdvantage. Plus 3, let the algorithm find the right audience. Step 5 is just monitor and iterate. And step 6, this is the big one, scale. You translate the winning ad into over 120 languages for basically 0 extra cost.
That localization step is basically infinite global market penetration for free.
Okay, but I have to ask, what's the biggest pitfall? When brands try this playbook and fail, what are they doing wrong?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the fatal flaw is treating AI solely as a cost-cutting tool.
Like just pocketing the savings.
Yes. A finance department sees production drop from 50 grand to 5 grand, and they want to keep the difference. But the objective is algorithmic dominance through volume. If you save money, you have to reinvest it into creating 10 times more variation and testing.
Ah, so you feed the ad algorithms more data.
Exactly. Also, you have to manage operational rules. Remind your team to use AI disclosure labels to avoid getting your ads rejected by Meta or TikTok.
Right, the platforms are cracking down on that.
Heavily. And finally, ad fatigue. Generative AI makes engaging content, but we still get bored. The data shows that once an ad's frequency goes above 3.4, meaning people have seen it more than 3 times, your click-through rate gets killed by 41%.
31%. So you have to refresh the creative constantly.
Weekly, if you can.
Stepping back, wrapping up all these sources, the central theme is clear. Human strategy first, AI execution second. AI is this incredible engine, but the human marketer is absolutely still the driver.
It is the steering wheel. But, it does leave me with a final thought to ponder.
Lay it on us.
Well, we've talked about how AI analyzes data to sell products efficiently, but if an AI can instantly analyze 14 metrics on your face to sell you moisturizer and generate a customized ad in 120 languages for $5,
Yeah.
what happens to the actual nature of human desire